Search for the name Rempstone, and you will find an odd set of disconnected records: Bronze Age archaeological surveys, medieval political biographies, and luxury woodland camping sites. These records refer to two entirely separate locations, one in Dorset, the other in Nottinghamshire, separated by 200 miles. Despite having no historical connection, aligning them creates a chronological sequence tracing the English landscape's evolution from the deep past to the present. This linguistic coincidence allows us to observe how the land was settled, utilized, and eventually reclaimed across thousands of years. Together, the two Rempstones serve as a microcosm for the building and rebuilding of the nation. We begin in the Bronze Age, on the Isle of Purbeck in Dorset. This is a landscape of high downs and deep green valleys leading toward the coast. Roughly 4,000 years ago, inhabitants here constructed the Rempstone stone circle. It was a modest site compared to its more famous neighbors, with an original diameter of only about 80 feet. The builders utilized the local geology, selecting sandstone boulders from the nearby bagshot beds, rather than importing the traditional sarsen stones found at other megalithic sites. As the millennia passed and the original purpose of the circle was forgotten, the local community created new myths to explain the massive stones. They claimed the boulders had been thrown through the air by the devil. According to the folklore, the devil was aiming at Corfe Castle, the massive medieval fortress that still overlooks the valley. This shift from Bronze Age construction to medieval legend shows how societies often overwrite forgotten history, with folklore to make sense of the landscapes they inherit. To find the next chapter, we move 200 miles north to the Nottinghamshire village of Rempstone. By the time of the Domesday Book in 1086, this was a settled community of farmers and laborers. The village was the seat of Sir Thomas Rempston, a knight who rose to power by supporting Henry Bolingbroke during his campaign to take the English throne in 1399. As a reward for his loyalty, the newly crowned King Henry IV appointed Sir Thomas as the Constable of the Tower of London, placing him at the center of the kingdom's defense and political machinery. Sir Thomas's career ended in the Thames in 1406. While attempting to row through the narrow, surging arches of London Bridge, his boat capsized, and the constable drowned in the river. In the village of Rempstone, life centered around the church of St. Peter in the Rushes, which sat nearly a mile away from the main settlement. During this era, the church functioned as a commodity. Distant clerics and rectors, many of whom never set foot in the village, traded the rights to its income while the local building fell into disrepair. Medieval Rempstone was defined by this extraction of value, where local resources and political alliances were used to fuel the ambitions of the ruling class. In the 18th century, the focus shifted from land ownership to industrial production. Both Rempstones were soon subjected to a period of rapid dismantling. In Dorset, commercial clay mining operations expanded across the Isle of Purbeck. These excavations were so incredibly extensive that they physically dug up and destroyed the southern half of the ancient Rempstone stone circle. Simultaneously in Nottinghamshire, the original village centre had migrated so far from its medieval roots that St. Peter in the Rushes was completely abandoned. In 1773, the old church was taken apart. The community reused its stones as building material for the construction of the new All Saints Church in the heart of the modern village. This era turned history into a resource, where ancient monuments and medieval structures were recycled or cleared to make room for social and industrial progress. Today, the struggle for survival and industrial output has transitioned into a paradigm of leisure and heritage preservation. Nottinghamshire now celebrates its rural past through events like the Rempstone Steam and Country Show, where vintage machinery is preserved as a community attraction. In Dorset, the land near the broken stone circle has been repurposed as Burnbake, a multi-million-pound woodland resort for luxury camping. The artisanal traditions also endure at Rempstone Studio, where stone carvers continue to work with the same local sandstone used by the Bronze Age builders 4,000 years ago. The name Rempstone has endured because each generation has looked at the land and found a new way to make it useful. The evolution of these two locations shows that the landscape is an ongoing record of human activity, where the past is constantly reshaped to serve the needs of the present.